week. But for now,
yes,
we have blitzchung versus Pathra. And this is the match we talked the most about off camera, actually, between Derek and myself. And we were just saying that it's so impactful because both these players have had a poor start to this season. They're 0-3 out of 3. Like that's the max. And one of them now, because of the clashing right at this moment, one of them is going to be 0-4. And that is horrible. It's a horrible start to the season, especially when one of the most important things about GM Season 2, relegation's on the line. A player from each division is going to be out after this season.
We're seeing just some, in some of the regions, some big upsets, you know, with Surrender going down 0-3, Alu Timu, Fino, PNC doing very poorly, as well as some of the players who qualified through to BlizzCon. Here, at least, it seems to be a repetition of last season. blitzchung and Pathra both had pretty poor performances in Season 1. blitzchung was a little bit more towards the middle, but he had no chance of qualifying to the playoffs at the final week, which not many players were in that position. And now, with one of them heading down to 0-4, it's just, you really don't want history to repeat itself for either of these players, because we could still see, for one of these players, if they win out from here on in, even if they go down 0-4 and win out, they can still go 10-4, which gives them the best record overall, even compared to Season 1.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They're not out of the running.
It's not over yet by any means, but this makes it harder and harder and more pressure on week by week. Whereas look at Tom, if Tom's 4-0, he loses 2 matches next week. He's still 4-2. He's still doing really well. But anyway, let's get into game number 1. It's going to be blitzchung on the top on the old Quest Paladin, Derek. And then Pathra on the bottom on the Druid. And yet again, we get to explore these matchups. Quest Paladin, I've spent a few days now convincing Derek they might be good. And we get to see it played out again. And blitzchung does have a slightly different style build of this than what we've seen before, just slightly. A bit more mech-based with the snip snap as well. There's double conk in there, but overall it does the same thing. So we'll see how it goes.
Pretty similar to the other builds, and I am fully coming around to the idea that as a tournament pick for a specific metagame, it's a brilliant bring. Honestly, I think this week it might have been one of the best brings we've seen, because when the tournament is, what is it, like all but 1 or 2 players bringing Warrior and Druid, and it seems like against Warrior specifically, it seems like they have literally no chance in the matchup. Druid, in the matches we've seen, they've had literally no chance in the matchup. Granted, you know, that was Staz with a double Christology game. Christology is the highest win rate card in the deck by quite a margin. Even so, it does just seem like this deck has the ability to so dominate the board in the mid stages of the game before the Druid can push the lead.
Yeah, and already you can see Patra's just thinking about,
do I curve?
Do I play something? It feels a little bit easier because of Innovate means that she can float the mana and draw a card. Not only draw a card, but from the quest. So a very powerful turn for Pathra there.
Yeah, I like this from Pathra. I think the fact that it comes down before True Silver and there's no reactive cards before True Silver means that this is all but guaranteed to draw 2 cards, which is definitely worth an Innovate in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Innovate, honestly, is less about getting 2 spells faster or cards faster in terms of mana. It's more about either activating your quest faster or drawing cards.
Pretty much. Yeah, it seems ludicrous to me that anyone would even consider not playing the Innovates in the deck.
Oh yeah, it's madness. And there's a card I've seen in some actual builds, Derek. One on the right.
Keeper of the
I've
Grove.
seen some people post some lists with one Keeper of the Grove in.
I've never seen it in an actual list. I would love to see it picked here, though. I think against the Paladin, that silence, exactly what you're looking for.
This also raises an interesting question, right? So I'll go back to our conversation again, but when I mentioned to you the other day about Quest Paladin, and you were like, "No, it has to be me." You know,
I was convinced it was a me.
So I'm not winding you up with this at all. But how much prep for any of these players that haven't brought Quest Paladin even got versus the deck?
Excellent point.
Because it wouldn't be unfair for someone to consider like, oh, no one's going to bring it. It's kind of just a silly deck. And Pathra skips the silence. So Pathra, I'm deciding now that Patra's thought, okay, I'm going to go on the aggressive and just kill him. Like there's going to be no messing about, no late. I'm just going to get him. I'm going to go Oasis Surger into Temperator and then go.
And if that is her reasoning, I would say that speaks to the fact that she is probably fairly well acquainted with how this matchup, on average, will play out. Because if you're thinking, okay, you know, I can get a tricksy little silence, which may be able to get me over the finish line. You know, we think that seems pretty good, but she's probably thinking here, this matchup is so bad that my avenue to victory is just by smorking out nice and early with just a nice curve, Oasis Surger, Tending Tauren, Hidden Oasis, Anubis After Defender, get all these minions out early on, which I think is a very reasonable way to approach the matchup, and I'm interested to see how the two cards will stack
Your
against
presence offends me.
Saving grace here for Pathra as well is that blitzchung doesn't really have a mind-blowingly quick quest because it's just a lack of Crystology to get some of the cheap drops out. But there's 2 more.
That's a decent start.
1 more draw away from getting it done.
Very decent start. And honestly, just a good curve.
And yeah, this...
Actually, a really good curve. This has been perfect mana utilization every turn.
And I think it's just going to have to be a right? Or do you just take the double kill on the Bone Wraith?
I think Starfall here seems good, and then you follow up with the actual meat of
It's just scary because you Starfall a board, and it doesn't really change the board. It's like a 3-1, a 1-1, and a 2-1 come back.
With the 2-1, would the Reborn function after the 2 damage goes down? Because it does 5 damage first.
I think Reborn happens last in that instance. I think.
I'm not sure.
I think. Yeah, that's probably the nod to Pathra saying, actually, I only want to just pass a turn almost. And just, it's like, pass a turn, remove Reborn from the minions. I don't know.
Right, but this means that one of the big threats in her deck is kind of just taken out. You know, she just doesn't have another threat to work.
It's tough. It's tough.
And I think finding the use for the Starfall there, while it was a possibility, was a reasonable way to go. Especially as blitzchung clearly has quite a slow hand.
There'll always be a use for Starfall, though, in this deck. Well, the hero power makes 2/2 copies of things.
That doesn't mean that it's good necessarily.
It means it does a good job of getting rid of stuff.
If they summon eggs or 7/7s.
Yeah, of course. But
or even if they're just summoning Reborns, like it does at least the same job as it did here. And I would argue worse. Because there was a 5 health guy and a bunch of small guys.
So
you have to start getting through them eventually.
I guess the problem is, if it was Starfall that turn, then it would be swipe the turn after. So you're doing 2 turns of nothing.
Not even necessarily, because it could have been Starfall and Defender on this turn, which means that the Oasis Surges could be used to mop up the rest next turn. Or even if you do have to swipe next turn, I don't hate that. If you're clearing the board, I think that's okay. Because this way, you know, Patra's still kind of clearing the board, but she's using minions to do it, which means her follow-up, her hand will be filled with just removal spells.
One good thing here, though, is Hidden Oasis is one heck of a card, because the heal is pretty much puts Pathra back up on full health.
It's a nice
and makes a 6/6,
nice.
which is a little bit awkward to get through as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Pathra has to play it this turn, but in terms of Pathra looks quite dead, and she isn't. She really isn't, because just that Oasis there, that Hidden Oasis is enough to completely secure at least a few turns of the game.
Time waits for no one.
That's what I mentioned earlier, one scary thing, which is why I kind of like the Campus Ashmore tech we've seen in other versions of this Paladin, is what if blitzchung's eggs are at the bottom?
You just run out of draw.
Just loses.
I am starting to see that the games we've seen have been pretty fortunate outcomes for the
Yeah, I agree.
for the Paladins. Yeah, it is as I expected that the 2 damage comes before the Reborn.
Yeah, so the Reborn actually works, so to speak.
Right.
Okay, well, at least it's some mechs.
Starting to slip away now for blitzchung. Yeah, that's true. There are mechs that can come
like
down now.
Ziliax, and then there's a Annoy module next turn. There's
Yeah.
heal. Blitzchung can remove, because all Blitzchung needs to do is continue the game, right? So he can just remove this and have a Ziliax on board, and then worst case, he can maybe not next turn, but turn after like endless army with a Ziliax and
Reporting for duty.
And the pick for Pathra now of the Tending Tauren, honestly looking better and better as the game goes on, because it is just more stuff she can throw into play, which is pretty important, whereas you know, the tech decision of Keeper of the Grove maybe it was just too situational. Because in the next few turns, just throwing down 3, 4, and 2 2/2s, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely tough because
2 3/3s.
like, is Tending Tauren a good pick over Keeper in a world where Blitzchung hasn't got his quest done and doesn't have eggs? Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
But you have to weigh up how likely that is or isn't, right? Definitely not a bad pick though. So if this is Howl, it's likely that we're going to see a swipe.
I think that's what she's gearing up towards. She could go for the Nourish and hope to, like, you know, hit the exact one of Innovate, but I think that's
A bit spicy, isn't it?
yeah.
And unneeded, I think. I think Patra's in a really good spot right now.
Time waits for no
Because
one.
at this point, if the quest isn't procced for the Paladin, you know something's going wrong, because they definitely would have procced it no matter what.
She can definitely start playing the game back in her. At the same time,
Question
just
mark.
1 or 2 draws for blitzchung could turn this around. Even just egg here,
That'll-
without the
that'll
quest.
do.
That's still just an egg. This was a deck before the quest was even a thing. A Noya module magnetized on, and then Kangor's Endless Army for a Ziliax. The egg with a Noya module and an 8/8.
If it's killed.
It's
by
a little
the time,
ways
yeah.
off the line, but if it's not killed, you've got an 8/8 in play. Four mana remaining if Nourish were to be played is not perfect because it means she wouldn't even be able to play like a top decked Oasis Surger. So are you looking at Hidden Oasis on this turn?
I was, mainly because it just probably dies,
Yeah.
right?
I was definitely tempted by that because Scenarios would have come down next turn anyway.
Oh, well, there's the
There's
break,
the meat.
break point of the game, I think. Patra's going to play King Pharos next turn.
Yes.
If Blitzchung can
That's going to
respond,
be huge.
he wins. If he can't respond, he doesn't win. I think, and I'm oversimplifying a few things there, but... Oh.
Right, there is the quest activated. Now things get interesting.
Reporting for
Hero
duty.
power first, hero power after.
The reason for this is you can make an egg that can attack, and then...
This is going to
This
be
is a
close.
sick game.
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
going to be
like,
very
like
close.
I said, I think we hit the break point where it's going to be Pharos versus a Blitzchung response.
Yeah.
And that's literally going to be the game one way or the other. And here we go. Oh, you hate to see that. It terrifies me to play Pharos with Wrath in hand.
Oh, what? Because you get
I
Doomsay.
just know, honestly, I just know. If I was sat in Patra's seat right now, Doomsay would proc 100% because I know people are watching and people laugh at me.
All right, let's go. It's time for the king.
Our power is low.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad in terms of aggression.
Duelmaster
And
Dorian.
yeah, but
could
look
be
at
interesting.
Scenarios with the Wind Fury Harpy.
Yep.
Oh.
Hidden Oasis on the Xeric as well. It's probably not going to come to fruition, but something to consider. To
But
resurrect it.
now, the Undertaker as well. And you can make copies of the Undertaker. It's filth.
Oh.
It's filth.
Basically, I think what Blitzchung really wants right now is just another Ziliax in his hand. Like, if he had a Ziliax, I would think he'd feel very, very good here.
I think it was like
Without it though, I think it's... I don't know. It's not that amazing of a situation for Blitzchung. It's good. It's good. I don't know if it's like a lockout
I feel
game,
like
though. Like, who's doing more broken stuff at the moment? They're both doing such
Everyone!
ridiculously powerful stuff.
you get broken stuff, and you get broken stuff. But the problem I see here is,
I must move quickly.
if Patra can't lethal Blitzchung, then she has to go through the eggs. If she goes through to the eggs, there's 8/8s all over the show. Then, does she trade it to the eggs? If she trades it to the eggs, how does she win? If she doesn't trade it to the eggs, she dies. So this is where it's the thing that this quest paladin does, is it just, once it crosses that border into just checkmate, because it's like an unwinnable game.
And honestly, I thought Patra had turned this around and was going to be able to aggro through to a lethal, but these draws of egg into any reborn minion for Blitzchung looks like it's been just enough.
And honestly, and I'm honestly trying not to overhype the deck,
Yeah.
but Blitzchung's draw was not really mind-blowing in this game.
Yeah, it was just kind of...
It was just okay. It was just, I think it's just fair,
Yeah,
like
it
a
was fine.
reasonable draw.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Like, I didn't get Crystology, obviously, which is the dream, but, you know...
And it's missed some of the low drop
Questing
reborns.
Explorer and
That's true.
any
There's
of
questing,
like,
yeah.
the win rate of the mulligan win rate of the cards in the deck is Crystology's #1, Questing Explorer is #2, and then all the early reborns are shortly
Right,
underneath.
yeah. And that's also knock-on effect of, well, if you play Crystology, you get those
course,
minions.
yeah.
So of course the win rate will then stack
Yeah, well, I mean,
almost, but yes.
You can almost ignore Crystology. It will be the highest win rate card in any deck it's in until it rotates. 100%. Navi Zephyrus here, not having quite the same thing.
Well, it's true now, though, just getting a full idea of what cards Patrick's drawing.
Pretty sick effect with the Duel Monster, just to get the 2/2s in play. Oh.
That's pretty good.
That's such a sick draw.
Oh, the Xeric comes back though, doesn't it? Because Pathra wrathed her own Xeric, so it's going to come back.
Right. Okay.
If he contemplates.
Okay, yeah.
Which was a pretty
Still
nice
pretty
play.
good, though. I'd still take that draw any day of the week.
Just a note as well while we're talking, a little bit of downtime while blitzchung decides what he's doing. The death rattles in the deck are Mechano Egg and Mechanical Whelp, and that is it. Oh, sorry, and Snip Snap. So those are the ones that can stack on the Undertaker, which means that it's generally just there for incredible late game.
And Snip Snap.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's okay, I know you
Sorry,
don't listen to me then. But yeah, it just means it's mainly there to proc more and more and more 8-8.
Yeah.
It's literally just an incredibly late game punch, but if any deck can take you that far.
I think I like that play there as well from blitzchung to go for the Consecration. I was looking at Kangor's Endless Army there, which I think gets back a Zilliax, an egg with an Annoyer module onto it, and an 8-8 at that point. Whereas instead he goes with the Consecration while it's good, realizing that Kangor's Endless Army doesn't just need to be a defensive maneuver, it can be a very offensive maneuver at the same
100%,
time,
yeah.
which I think is pretty smart utilization of his tools.
Like, there was a line, not the right one, I don't think, I agree with you,
Yeah.
where it was Endless Army and almost like go face. And just be like, if you don't clear all of these taunts, you are dead. But I do like the Consecrate.
But now we're looking at potentially from Pathra, Zephyrus into Kabul Shadow Priest to steal the 2/6 taunt is nuts over here. But is that good enough? Is that too slow?
My
You can then
question
kill off the egg as
is
well.
Twisted Nether better? If there's only one egg to
Really?
be... Ooh. Didn't even offer Twisted Nether because of the death rattles. Like,
That's the spell. I suppose that's probably slightly better.
oh wait, no, that's definitely better because you get to kill both eggs.
He could have killed both eggs anyway, because he could have stolen one and attacked into the other, but then there would have been 2 8/8s.
Right, sorry, yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, seems straightforward to me.
Yeah, I like
Still
those
room for a
guys
copy.
very much. Oh, it just summons a regular egg, sorry. My mistake, I thought it was the... Oh, I guess there was one magnetized one. And
Yeah, there was one. Yeah. It
non-magnetized
just
one,
hit the one that wasn't didn't have the annoying module on it.
which is a little unfortunate, but still.
It is.
Or has... I guess maybe both the ones with the annoying module were silenced anyway? Either way, it's still a very, very strong situation for blitzchung, and as long as he doesn't fall too far behind to another board that can represent lethal, I think he's closing up games very quickly here. And so with no War Druid Loti, the spell power Starfall is not available. And so just how does Starfall innovate Hidden Oasis work? That would allow him to take out...
I think it's the only realistic defensive measure that's...
That would leave
when you kill the eggs.
2 8/8s on the board. Oh, you'd kill off the eggs. That would leave 3 8/8s in play.
Yeah. But you really want to kill the eggs.
Ugh.
Because it's just the same... If you don't kill the eggs, it's the same
It's the
problem
same
every
thing.
single
Yeah,
turn.
yeah.
So you never win.
It's just the ultimate
And
catch-22.
yeah, it's the trap of the deck. It just checkmates you. Because no matter what play you make, the game
got
just keeps
counterplay.
repeating.
Yeah.
It's literally... It should be called...
Time waits for no one.
It's just an endless loop of just the same problem over and over and over again until you hold your hands up and go, okay, you win, let's do this.
I thought you were going to say because I used to think it wasn't very good, but I've realized, it's alright. In the right situations.
Was that actually true of your opinion back then?
Yeah, I didn't like it when I first
Really?
like, hold on a second. Yeah, this is the play that Patrick was making, just trying to stay alive.
Would you like more eggs with your eggs? I feel like Undertaker's just you know, he might be an Undertaker full time, but he does like to cook. He's just a part-time chef because he's just got all these eggs and he's just ready to like to create some lovely 8/8s that will kill you for breakfast.
By day, mild-mannered Hearthstone professional. By night, Dr. Eggs.
Look, it's just 3 mechano eggs, and then he makes a 2/2.
And then 3
that
more.
Also creates 3 death. Oh, so there's 6 8/8s in 2 minions there.
He's just thinking, is this too much?
Is there ever such a thing?
Very desperate.
This is definitely not a situation of less as well.
More is always more. And what does Pathra even do? It's just an like this isn't even the best case because there are 2 silenced eggs that blitzchung can't really do anything about. So it's just -2 board space.
Yeah.
And it's still more than enough to win the game.
I tell you what Pathra says, in the face of all these eggs, oof.
I wonder.
So Oasis, Power of the Wild, and maybe you just play the Crystal Merchant anyway.
What to do?
Clears the 2 8/8s off the board and leaves you with something. The issue is you clear 2 8/8s off the board, he trades a 2/2 in, and there's 8,000 more 8/8s on the board.
Copies the Undertaker
Time waits
again.
for no
Yeah.
one.
This matchup feels so dominant.
There literally has to be eggs at the bottom of the deck. Because I will say, although I think blitzchung's draw was fine, I'll say is
Middle
my
of the road,
descriptor
yeah.
just
It wasn't
fine. The draw of the egg obviously unlocked the silliness of the deck. And as I said, that's why if you have Ashmore in the deck, it's 1 more egg effectively, which is very, very powerful. That is just going to be the game. Blitzchung takes an early lead, 1-0. And Quest Paladin, who...
I don't even know what to say. Has it lost a game this week at Grandmasters for Asia Pacific at least?
Don't think it's even lost. Never mind, like, lost and won in the same series. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think it's dropped a game. It's just... I don't know.
This is what I mean. I think it's
insane.
very well situated, very well situated in this week's metagame. I think the
Yes.
players who brought it can be very, very happy with their decision to bring it, especially when they're going for the strategy that we're seeing from a lot of players. I think we saw it from Staz, where you leave up the warrior and the druid. They're probably going to protect one of them because that's what most players are doing. You ban away one of the aggro decks, you're pretty much guaranteed a win with it, and then you just have to get a win with one of your other 2 remaining pretty strong decks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we can talk about the picks and bans because there are some interesting things there with Pathra's warrior was actually banned by blitzchung, which blows my mind. But anyway, we're going to go to a quick break while we sell match game number 2. We'll be right back.
Welcome, recruits. I'm Alec Dawson, and today I'm here to teach you what it takes to be part of the League of Explorers. We need all the help we can get because it's time to save Old Doom. First things first. Being an explorer can be dangerous. The League of Evil has already stolen Dalaran, but now they're unleashing plagues in Old Doom, and they keep shuffling bombs into our decks. Luckily, Old Doom is stocked with ancient treasures that may give us a chance. We've already sent some of our best explorers to retrieve these powerful artifacts. But we need you to go out into the field too. Here's your quest. Raid the Sky Temple. That may seem like a lot of spells, but you'll get there faster than you think. Once we complete our quest, we'll get the hero power Ascendant Scroll, which adds a mage spell to our hand and reduces the cost by 2. Ascendant Scroll allows us to load up on cheap spells for cards like Archmage and Tinnitus. Because if there's a way to defeat evil, it's fireballs to the face. Make no mistake though, the League of Evil has been leveling up too. Evil was powerful in Dalaran, but now they discovered something even more nefarious. Teamwork. Here's Weaponized Wasp, one of Hagatha's new secret weapons. The laser on its head, courtesy of Blastmaster Boom. Weaponized Wasp plays well in aggressive lackey decks that look to take board control early. In Saviors of Old Doom, expect to see lackey build-arounds in Shaman and Warlock. But don't worry, we also have a secret weapon. Bees! No, really, one of our junior explorers found a bee-controlling device deep in Kartut's tomb. It took us a few days to decipher the instructions, but it's quite the powerful tool. Here they come now, it's bees! A new druid spell. This efficient removal spell excels in token-based druid decks. Need some extra pings for Knife Juggler? Bees! Need some extra bodies for Soul of the Forest? Bees! Need anything at all? Bees! Alright, that's all we have for today, Explorer. We've got one more training session to go before you'll be ready for the dangers of the desert. So sit tight, and I'll see you out there in Saviors of Uldum.
We've got an aggro warrior for you guys coming right up. It's going to be blitzchung versus Pathra in game number 2. It's going to be blitzchung's warrior versus Pathra's, I guess, shark rogue? Is that what we're going for? Temper rogue?
Shark Rogue, it was called Temper Rogue, Burgle Rogue. We never really settled on a name for it. It's a bunch
Whatever
of
you
different
fancy.
things. Exactly, but it is the slightly different build of Rogue than what we're seeing from most players, which is the all-out aggressive version of the Rogue. And I said last time we saw it from Pathra, I like the switch over this week, because one of the main reasons why Aggro Rogue was so effective in the previous weeks of the expansion from Saviors of Uldum was Reno Mage. It was so popular, and in my opinion, the Aggro Rogue did a fantastic job of killing them before Luna's Pocket Galaxy could even do anything. Now Luna's Pocket Galaxy costs 7, pretty much no one is playing Reno Mage, and so I think going with a slightly more mid-rangey approach to the deck still is able to punish the Druids in a very similar way, where you're curving out nice and quick and you still have a good amount of damage with Wagglepix and Leroy, but it is just a little bit more well-rounded, I think, and has a better shot against the Warriors.
Yeah, the big question for me is just how well it's going to do versus Aggro Warrior, because I feel like Aggro Warrior, as long as it can just hold that board a little bit early game, it's very difficult to get rid of it. Some of its minions are a little bit more high health than normal. Vendetta will be fantastic, of course, but in general, with the combination of, let's say, like the heavy turns 1 to 4 are just so powerful with Warrior, it might be a little bit too hot to handle here. So we'll see what happens. Game number 2, blitzchung versus Pathra, Warrior versus Rogue.
The fight not to go down 0-4 in the second week of Hearthstone Grandmasters between these two players. And blitzchung with his aggro warriors are one of the key pieces that I think we've been missing in every single time we've seen the aggro warrior, which is Bloodsworn Mercenary. The reason why this deck pretty much exists now is because of the ridiculously powerful swing turns that that card can afford.
I'd actually say right now, Livewire Lance is a much better pickup, right? Bloodsworn Mercenary is often a card you play on curve. I feel like, anyway, because you don't have so many reliable ways of getting 1 or 2 drops damaged.
I mean, I think if there wasn't exactly Coin SI7 Agent there, or I guess Coin Blink Fox Vendetta, it would have been insane here. I agree in this matchup it's difficult to activate it because of how strong the rogue removal is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier in this matchup than most. I'm just saying a lot of matchups aren't playing 1-drops that you can trade into. Right, you know, I feel like it's a lot of passing.
So what, you don't like to have it at the start?
I'm never super upset. The only time I really like to have it in my starting hands if I have Frothing Berserker as well.
I'm like hard mulliganing for Mercenary
really?
every time I play this deck. I think every really strong thing you can do with this deck pretty much comes from Mercenary.
Yeah, I don't know. At least when I've been playing it, I mean, Blitzchung's list is different to the one I play anyway. So, but I kind of just like curving, and then the Bloodsworn is the one step over the edge that really push it. Because if you like just curve and one of your minions gets doubled up, and you can maybe even rampage it, then it goes insane.
Speaking of say. Another rushing in Wasp to take it out. Very, very nicely works out. It is a little bit of a I suppose you could say. Pathra going for the Bone Wraith instead of going for the Hench Clan Burglar, which of course could not have been traded in to buff up the attack on Red Band Wasp. But it's a very specific set of cards that obviously had to come down.
And this is what I mean. Although this is powerful, if this is the Bloodsworn Mercenary you have to deal with this game, great.
Right, but this was because of the fact that Pathra was in a fantastic position with Coin SI and Blinkbox and Vendetta and the Wonder.
Yeah,
She
I mean,
had
it was
the
a lot of
dream.
stuff.
She had the absolute dream.
There's a Colossus of the Moon again, our favourite. Coming off that fair, okay.
That's this week. Probably not quite so powerful in this matchup. You'd rather have it against the Control Warriors.
And this, we might see actually Restless Mummy into the 1-1, then Bloodsworn Mercenary. Oh no, wait, it's 1 mana. Ooh, I think you hold then.
Really? I think you've got a pretty good chance of setting it up next time. Well, the Bloodsworn, as it currently stands, is either going to be strong in the mid stages of the game soon with like the Restless Mummy. I think it has a decent chance of activating on, and if not, just saving it for Leroy with a Inner Rage is a really strong combo.
I guess like Restless Mummy has to not be traded into this turn.
Yeah.
I wonder if you do that if you Pathra. If you think, you know, what if? Maybe it's too much of a stretch, but
Trade in and Zilliax.
Like my problem is if you don't grab the board now, do you ever even get it as Warrior? Like Warrior does not come back on the this deck does not come back onto the board.
Not especially well.
Which
Basically
is why
Restless Mummies.
if even just the turn was a little bit slow this turn, and then next turn you could go, you know, maybe rush into a copy, so you get 2 rush with Reborn and a 3/3.
Yeah. I see your point.
I don't know if it was worth waiting. It might not have been worth waiting, but that's a good Bloodsworn turn as far as I'm to like turn 7. You know, do something like that is insane.
I think I'm a fan of just playing out his cards as quick as he can and trying to get in the chip damage due to face, because setting up for a combo with Leroy and Bloodsworn Mercenary is, I think, not ridiculous. There's only one card he needs to find before he's there, and then that's 16 damage.
I'm just gonna take it out.
No tomb can hold me.
I think that's right.
Yeah, just get rid. That's all you need to do versus Warrior. You almost treat it like Zoo. If they don't have any minions, they can't do broken things.
I mean, I think you do it even more so than against Zoo, because against Zoo they can redraw, so at some point you have to start going aggressive and going face. Against Warrior, when they're out of stuff, they're out of stuff. That's it.
Damage luck is all over the show. I think blitzchung might have preferred some kind of spell discovery or summon a 2-drop. Faceless Lucky.
This is where things get pretty interesting, because that discrete breakpoint of 16 damage with Leroy, Bloodsworn Mercenary, and Inner Rage does mean he wants to start launching some of this stuff at the face. That makes it a little bit smoother.
Zilliax though. Ooh.
Yeah, that changes things around nice and quick.
Okay, do you ever go spicy with Waggle Pick? Is that too
I'm
dangerous?
wondering if we ever go spicy with Zilliax to bounce here.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Waggle Pick this turn, then bounce it with
Right,
Waggle Pick and Zilliax next turn, and you can bounce it again to heal even more. Either way.
I'm definitely letting Cast Vision get to myself there. It has to be exactly Kobold Lackey before it's worth bouncing it. But there with the pickup of Inner Rage, this does now mean that blitzchung has, next turn, 8 times 2, 16 damage.
Double checking the match.
Just double checking. He has no copies of Rampage in his deck, which would mean turn 10, that would give him 22 burst damage, I believe.
There is a small Chron Elite that would make up the 4. There's an Arcanine Reaper that would make up the 4 just from raw hand. But that's pretty much it.
Well, he needs 5.
Oh, he didn't do... Sorry. I was looking at it before
difference.
Grom was played. I thought it was just got Dagger into Grom, that's all.
Yeah.
Ooh, Tomb Warden.
Tomb Warden's so nice, but it's too late. It feels miserable to place 3 less mana for a whole less 3/6 here. But I guess he just wants any amount of damage to connect at all. Which it almost can. So this time we could see from Pathra attack with the Grom, bounce it back, play it again for, what, 6, and then Edwin?
What about just Edwin, rush Edwin? would that not do the job?
Yeah, yeah. I think as long as she doesn't take any damage face this turn. Like, I honestly don't think that I'm letting Cast Division get to myself here. Like, blitzchung's hand, I think, screams of damage to face. I think you want to stop taking any damage at all here, now that Ziliax has gone.
Especially with the way, so his build is way more minion heavy than some other builds I've seen. So there's there's got to be something that, it's not like he's holding double rampage and he can't proc it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it has to be minions. And what minions would he have not played and gone for taunt instead? I don't know.
I'm just going to do stuff to him pretty quick.
Go for the bigger thing.
This felt very bad.
Is it not worth then just shadow step in the rush?
Yes.
To make a bigger cleave?
Like, I think the play this turn, the way she did it, 100% wanted to connect Grom face. Like, if she's tanking the damage on the 2-2, it should have been shadow step the 1-1, then play Edwin, then rush it, and then she gets to connect 10 damage face. I think this was quite significantly worse.
Well, so when I said cleave rush, that's what I
Yes,
that's
yeah,
what I
exactly,
thought, right?
yeah.
You just tank 2, you the cleave trades, and then go.
What I was looking at first of all was you attack the Grom into the Fen Creeper, bounce it back, Grom again into the 2-2, and then that's exactly enough mana to play the Edwin for, what, a 6-6 it would be at that point? Which means she hasn't equipped the Waggle Pick, which is of course the downside, and maybe your play was slightly better. But it would have meant she's taken no damage and still puts a decent amount of minion pressure on the board. And as it currently stands, it looks like it will still be enough, because it would have to be a very specific couple of draws for blitzchung, where we would have to have got damage on this turn in Arcanite Reaper or Corcoran Elite into this exact combo, which is now just happening.
Is he just going to play off the top? Wants to draw Arcanite Reaper?
Yeah. He's playing to the
Or a live wire lance?
Yeah.
Or a small cron, that's one left. Just going for it.
Pretty much.
I actually really like this from blitzchung because
too.
there's no if you trade
avenue.
Leroy, you've lost.
This
You may as well
is only
concede.
out.
Yeah.
How much damage is he facing on the backswing, however? This is 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. So 3 damage off lethal as I count it.
So, right, and there's literally one Corcoran,
2
one
damage off
Arcanite
lethal,
Reaper, one live wire lance into a kobold or a spell, I guess, with Molt Strike or whatever.
I think Pathra has to play the Hench Clan Burglar here, right? If she doesn't have lethal, I'm not sure what to find. Or, sorry, bounce the Grom. Oh, she can just shadow step the Grom. It's just lethal. I guess we might just-
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't even because I was looking at what blitzchung could draw.
I always forget that Grom actually has charge.
Yeah. Most things don't have charge anymore, to be fair, but that's going to be game. blitzchung went for the long shot, and we'll never know what that 16th card on the top was going to be. He had like kind of 2.5 outs, I guess, depending on what happened. But anyway, Pathra evens the series up. And that was a close one. That would have been a rough way to go down, I think, because blitzchung did not, I would say, outside of the Leroy burst damage, do any of the broken things the deck normally does, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There was a lot of just like he runs like 2 Armani Berserkers, which are pretty decent to just on-curve options. Like I said, I feel like it didn't curve out that much.
Yeah.
But also, Pathra had a very good opening and
She had
still
the
nearly died. So you can see why people are playing aggro warrior. It does do pretty well in general if you just know how to handle it. But I feel like it's one of the most pure face decks we've seen in a long time, because even aggro rogue doesn't have to be played in a very overly aggressive way, whereas this is literally like face, face, face.
I think it's comparable to aggro rogue. I think they still have some kind of board-based stuff you can do with like Edwin and Hench Clan Thug for the rogue, and then comparatively the Bloodsworn Mercenary and some of the extra board-based plays. But I agree, at a certain point you really just want to start pointing everything face with both of the decks. And I think it's an interesting way to go for with the aggro warrior. It really hasn't found its matchups this week though. It's really struggled against the rogues in their board-based tempo, the zoos as well, with their just over-dominance on the board. I think if aggro warrior is able to line into some of the decks like Quest Druid in particular, and maybe Reno, a Highlander Hunter as well, it could have a better chance. And speaking of the devil, here is that matchup. Aggro Warrior up against Quest Druid.
Yeah, I was playing some aggro warrior earlier today, and I actually lost versus 2 Quest Druids because I had a decent opening, and they delayed, they had some removal, and then they played Hidden Oasis, and I was like, ouch.
Right, and
So it's good. I think it's going to be very board focused if you're playing this. You can't just jam phase.
And I'm finding justification for bringing the aggro warrior. I don't like it personally. I think there's other better ways you can go if you're going for a punish, an approach of punishing druid, for example, priest. Like if he's bringing it because he thinks it's good against druid, which I don't know 100% he is, it may just be that he thinks it's good against some of the other aggressive decks and can play it on board. But to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what he is expecting to dominate with it, because it's so bad against control warrior. It's doesn't feel that good against the rogues and some of the other tempo decks because it just falls behind.
And as we go into game number 3 here, this looks as good as it's going to look for blitzchung. Not only does he have a good mulligan, he also has the coin, which most importantly means Pathra does not.
Yeah.
So Patra's activatable turns come a turn late.
I guess you'd rather have the coin than just to deny it. Like, on pretty much every aggro deck, you always want to go first, just so you can get the ball rolling.
But when you know your opponent's passing every single first penalty, it's fine.
I think this is fine.
Job's done.
And also coin frothing is just savage in this matchup.
Super low curve here for blitzchung, but unfortunately super low damage as well. Nothing here until he gets self-damaging effects, like Inner Rage in particular. Really does much damage at all, so I wonder how he will try and sequence this out to try and maximize his offensive potential. Especially because, for example, you know, if he just goes Armani Berserk here and he's met with Wrath, which is a pretty expectable card to see from your opponent, it's just 1 damage a turn he's pushing. Whereas if he goes for the Temple Berserker, he's only pushing 1 damage a turn, but he's a little bit less susceptible to removal cards. It's an interesting balance that's drawn already.
And I was considering even coining Town Crier, just to get more stuff out. But I guess he's trying to coin double 2-drop next turn.
That seems fair. Yeah, probably not coin Restless Mummy, but yes, I think coin double 2-drop makes sense. Like getting 1 extra damage on the board is not that necessary.
And it's not really clearable, is it? And then suddenly swipe gets worse because it activates the mummies and so on, so.
Good point.
But I did just wonder, because Town Crier will kind of make you draw next turn better if you coined it out this turn. Get towards more of those beefier minions or activate effects. Is that +1? Oh, it's cool. Okay.
Corcoran's starting to look very spicy. This is the damage you're looking for now with the charge on board next turn.
This is where it's probably going to be bees on the Armani Berserker. But again, the problem with that is you actually leave a minion on the board, which means that one of the mummies can activate itself.
It's true, yeah. Which, I mean, I guess in a way makes your swipe better, but there's still
makes it
3-1
worse, yeah.
left over. Yeah.
And also if you swipe, it comes back. So it's just as
That's
bad,
what I
right?
mean,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So maybe Ferocious Howl, just to try and dig a bit deeper?
What to do?
That doesn't feel great.
You're not facing down that much damage though, and if you swipe,
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
If you bees, like, you kind of end up facing down more damage.
Job's done.
Minion thing, starting to remove some of this from the board is worth it, because even if there is an Enrage on one of the Berserkers, that's still +2 attack, which with the -2 attack from killing off the Berserker evens out.
We'll have to beat to disagree. It's close.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay, well, Corcoran coming down now. Gonna push Pathra down to 20, and this is the danger hand I was talking about from Druid in terms of dealing with blitzchung here. Is you start to just piece together, even if it could even be just Wrath, Hero Power. Kill the 1/1. You're facing down 4 damage, right?
Yeah.
And then you just hit an Oasis next turn, and everything looks fantastic, because then you surge at the turn after, and you can hit an Oasis, Defender next turn, and the game ends. This is my experience in this matchup, however little I've played of it.
I guess this makes sense from Pathra. This is kind of rough, because as Pathra, I would really want to swipe there to start actually clearing off some minions.
But this is better.
But exactly,
Yeah.
it's just these annoying little berserkers in the way. You're just gonna have to deal with them for the moment and accept they don't do that much damage.
And if anything, you heal 2 of the 4 damage they do anyway,
Yeah.
because you hit an Oasis, doesn't heal for full right now.
Captain Greenskin, not what blitzchung is looking for. He needs to find cards like the Bloodsworn Mercenary, Arcanite Reaper, just something to really ramp up the
I think
damage.
it has to be the play this turn, though.
Really? You're not looking at Town Cry
This
and Mummy?
place is scary.
I think you want Mummy more reactive next turn, right? You want to front load damage and then have the Mummy to... Because Patra's playing a minion next turn. If she doesn't, great.
Yeah, but I mean, you. Yeah, I guess so.
Because if you just play Mummy, it's like your next turn's trash, right?
Conjured Mirage as the pick. I beg your pardon? Why?
I didn't even see the options.
There was. I'm pretty sure there was a Bone Wraith offered
Well,
as well.
it basically defends your board for a whole
Protects your
turn.
board?
It's at 10 health.
I have never seen this card played.
I've played it once.
How'd that go for you?
It wasn't that bad. the shuffle into the deck was completely insignificant.
Well, it's just the fact that it disappears, right? That's what matters.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. For the one turn it was down, it was all right. And then it disappeared.
Problem is, blitzchung can't just plop that down and go face with everything else because
Well,
this
not
is a
now,
board
yeah.
full of taunts.
And this is where, honestly, I feel like the game ends a lot of the time.
This is where it gets difficult.
No tune can hold me.
I do think holding on to the green skin was unnecessary.
Well, I wanted to see the play of Mummy and last turn the Restless Mummy and the Town Cry as well, because then that sets up for another Restless Mummy next turn again. Usually, although there is one Red Band Wasp in the deck as well, which I don't really like personally, but it was tough because if you got the Red Band Wasp off of the Town Cry, it becomes a lot less easy to plow through the Oasis.
Yeah, my view is like Greenskin is a decent sized minion against Druid, and also if blitzchung is really thinking he's going to wait for a weapon and then Greenskin and then get that many swings in this matchup, then he has way more optimism than I do, because
maybe that's
you want to go late versus Druid.
Basically, I mean, his play worked out pretty horribly because he developed very little. Ooh, looking like we might be approaching that same situation as last game, where you can set up for a Leroy Inner Rage Bloodsworn Mercenary to deliver the 16 damage, but I think we may also be in another similar situation to last game where it's not enough.
Patra's one Nourish away from just winning the game. Like Nourish into Howl just ends the game like so hard.
Pretty much.
And in the meantime, there's a Surge of Power of the Wild, the swipe for an on-demand spot removal for a Frothing Berserker, which again, we've not seen any Frothing Berserkers from blitzchung, and it's one of the cards I feel does the most work.
Plays that in trade.
Does he know it goes away? Because Patra doesn't trade.
Yep. She just develops and then it disappears.
Or even better, now she can just kill it and trade anyway. Wait, is that just a sick turn? Loti, Surger, Power of the Wild. Loti into the 3/10. Trade into the...
Where's your mana coming from?
Oh, it's on 10, I thought. Being stupid, ignore me.
I think you just go Oasis Surger, Loti, Pass. Like, you just set up an
Yeah.
impenetrable board.
Same, yeah, kind of same idea, yeah. But with the actual mana cost.
Same idea, but different
Power.
Oh, come on.
Same.
Yeah, just pass, whatever. Have you 3-1.
I guess you could kill it off. Like, it doesn't really matter at this point. Maybe saving the 3 health is worth it.
Okay, question. Does it matter if blitzchung literally top decks it next turn?
I mean, that's a benefit of not killing it, right?
Well, but then you've got to attack into it again, or the game goes longer.
He's just played a garbage card. Like, it
But
doesn't matter.
but then
if
he could do that and then Frothing Berserker. Then you
Maybe,
do it.
maybe,
I'm literally just saying: is there a world in which a top deck of that card ever causes more problems than the 3 health on Loti? I don't think there is.
I don't think.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to consider as to whether you trade or not.
Okay.
Just 'cause it's such a unique card,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like if you don't kill it, it goes away but back in the deck, and then you might have to play against it again. Well, that's a combo. But for turn 10.
That is a turn 10 combo, and I imagine blitzchung is going to be setting up for that whilst launching as much damage face as possible. Kind of annoying again that Patrick couldn't just say, "Do you mind if I don't have stealth this time?" Actually,
It's not even that far from lethal for Patrick.
I mean that's basically lethal.
It's backwards lethal.
Exactly.
There was a boss in WoW that was really funny. Instead of killing it, you had to heal it to full. So it was like a backwards race. Like the healers had to DPS the boss up to full health,
That sounds cool.
and the DPS had to defend the healers basically. while they healed. It was pretty cool boss fight. This is what this is like. The heal is winning the
It's
game,
effectively winning.
not killing your opponent.
I mean, punching your opponent in the face is
For
also
1
winning
million.
the game. Yeah.
And this is what I was meaning, like, what I've seen of the deck is it doesn't consistently get there in 6 turns.
Yeah, I mean...
And then
yeah.
the Druid does broken things, and you can't beat that. It's not, like, we talked about how broken all these decks are doing. I don't think this Warrior is broken enough.
I don't think so either. I think that, like, my hypothesis for why he brought it was to try and prey on the Quest Druids, because I think if you are bringing an off-meta deck, it has to do well against Warrior or Quest Druid.
Right.
I think his Warrior does pretty poorly against both of those two decks.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's mind-blowing, and then you've got to look at some other decks where I think versus Hunter, it might be alright, because Hunter does a lot of weird chip damage in which you can then cash in on. But outside, I think Rogue is a fine matchup for the Rogue. I think it might be even. So you start to go, if you're not really shouting out, oh, it crushes this deck, then that deck is not good enough in this meta. Like, there are so many decks that are just insane right now that you can't bring a deck that's just okay, just fun or whatever.
However, congratulations to Pathra.
Yeah.
She goes up 1-3, meaning she's not down to the 0-4 scoreline, unlike blitzchung, unfortunately heading down at the lowest point in his group. Now the final, the lowest position in Division B means he is going to be already, I think, setting his eyes towards relegation and trying to claw his way out. It's only week 2 of 7 before we head through to the playoffs in week 8, but he's going to have to start clawing his way up because it turns around quickly.
And it's going to be dicey as well, because, you know, we keep talking about relegation. Just in case, as a refresher, you don't know, it's the bottom player from each division. So it's not like 2 from each division or anything like that. So it's literally, even if you are having not the best season in the world, it can happen to literally anyone. Look at the start, look at players like Surrender. As long as you're not dead last, so even if you just scramble and fight for, you know, second to last in your division, you're in for next season, you're safe. And that's what these players will be focused on, who maybe, as the season goes on, are facing, you know, the bottom 4 end of the table. I believe we do have Pathra ready, though, for an interview. So we'll see if she can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hi guys.
Oh, hi. Hey, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
It must have been a pretty rough matchup. At least we were just saying that, you know, you versus blitzchung, someone is going to go 0-4 this week in Grandmasters. So were you feeling a lot of pressure for this match specifically?
The first game was so bad. I was like, what am I doing? I felt so much pressure, and but yeah, I told myself, I was like, you got this. Just concentrate. In the next 2 games, you can still win. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I know my misplays, and I'm just beating myself up for it actually.
Okay, and just in terms of, I've asked most of the players this, so we've got a chance to interview, but the meta seems so wide and varied right now. How are you, enjoying it? How are you preparing for Grandmasters when it feels like you can play almost any class and any deck?
Yeah, I think that it's super cool with this new format. The banning and the protecting makes it really interesting, and we see so many decks out there. I learned my lesson this week that Highlander Hunter was just bad, and I never touched it. So it's like as if I had only 3 decks this whole week.
Well, it's definitely a opinion that a lot of the other regions have come to. But I wanted to talk to you about the what Tyler told us, which was that he effectively copied your homework this week when it came to building the lineups. So I wanted to know what it was like practicing with him, and did you help out or practice with any of the other players in Grandmasters?
Oh, well, we just talked. We didn't actually play games together, but we just talked about what we thought was good. And he told me he hasn't been playing a lot. So I was like, don't worry, I got you. But he told me, like, what classes he wanted to bring, which is basically all the classes we did end up bringing. But he wanted to bring the aggro rogue, and I was like, I think I like the shark, so it could beat the warriors.
Yeah, okay, and it's pretty interesting. We did pull Tyler up on the not playing much and then playing Zephyrus when he thought it was active, when it clearly wasn't, which was pretty funny.
It worked out for him.
It did work out. It was one of those funny situations where if he just acted like he meant to do it, we could have just played it off as like, wow, yeah, good heads-up play, but he gave himself away. But no, we'll let you go, Pathra, but congratulations again on the win. Good job, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, so... yeah, interesting that in just terms of there was even just between Tyler and Pathra, there's the idea of what classes you want to play, kind of what decks, but the actual card for card I feel is insanely difficult right now in almost every archetype that's popular because there are so many playable cards. And I think that's just a knock-on effect of the expansion we've just had, is that there weren't really any cards that I looked at and thought, nah, never. Not a
So
chance.
many playable
But, like,
cards.
almost every card felt playable.
Yeah.
Even we started to see Jar Dealer. Is that the
decent
name of the
card,
card?
yeah.
People thought, oh, a 1-mana 1/1 that gives you a 1/1 death rattle, that's trash. It's like, well, people are playing it in multiple different lists and it's getting work done. So it's almost endless right now, it feels like.
And it's so crucial, every single decision that you do make in terms of the deck list that you're bringing. Because we're seeing, for example, with Questrid, if you include Nomi or don't include Nomi, your matchups change
Different,
so
yeah, it's
drastically.
huge.
It's like a different game you're playing at that point when you're up against Warriors or the aggro decks as well. Or even with, you know, the Rogues, whether you go for the aggro version or the mid-range version, it can change everything so drastically. It's really interesting to see how the different players are preparing and how some are coming out on top, some are going down. As, you know, I would say with blitzchung, his Quest Paladin, I think, was such an inspired bring this week and worked out so fantastically for him. It does just feel like that aggro warrior was the weak point in his matchup, which was so consistently letting him down.
Yeah, and a funny note as well, Pathra saying, oh, I actually decided that Hunter wasn't good. She did submit Hunter Highlander. Wasn't good, so it was like I was playing with 3 decks. So I was just not going to queue Hunter. One gets banned, so you have to win with the other 2 decks, like the, you know, the Warrior Druid or the Rogue Druid Warrior, whatever. So it's just very interesting that like if you miss-submit is the word I'm going to make up maybe, then you feel almost like trapped into a harder version of this format where you don't have a flex deck to play. But anyway, we could talk all day and we're going to talk for a fair few more hours yet because there's some matches left, so don't you worry. We've got Surrender